This is Community Link on AM 1230 WFVA. Each week at this time, listen as community leaders have an in-depth discussion of topics that relate to our community. This is Community Link on AM 1230 WFVA.
Good morning, I'm Ted Schubel. Our focus now is Rappahannock Legal Services. Director Ann Kloeckner joins us on the program this morning. Ann, good to meet you. Glad you could come in this morning.
I'm really glad to be here.
Rappahannock Legal Services, talk about what you do.
We are a private, nonprofit law firm for the poor. Our mission is justice for all. It really bugs us when people are treated differently just because they're poor or they aren't connected or know somebody. And our legal system should be set up so that everyone, regardless of whether they can afford an attorney or not, gets a fair shake. And so that's what we do. We provide lawyers for civil legal problems.
I like it that you said it bugs us, because in legal terms you think of everything being so nice. But obviously, to phrase it like that, you've got a passion about this.
It is a wonderful way to use your law license, is to help people who, without your help, wouldn't get access to the justice system.
And what got you into law?
My parents say that I wanted to be a lawyer because I was good at arguing, and I expect they're probably right. But I also really liked the feeling of being needed and being of use to somebody, and not just being a cog in the wheel, but somebody who, but for my efforts, somebody wouldn't get helped. So I was lucky to get all the opportunities I had in my life to go to college, go to law school. I started right out in law school representing battered women in a law clinic. So I got that experience early, and anyone who does this kind of work can tell you, you get more than you give. It's a very fulfilling, inspiring place to be a part of.
Are you a lot busier because of the economy?
Absolutely. In the last 4 years, since the real downturn in the economy, we've seen a huge increase of people who are needing our services, mostly because we only handle people who are at or just a little bit above the poverty line. And that group of people has grown in the last few years. A lot of people were struggling, but we're making it, and we're going kind of paycheck to paycheck. All it takes is the loss of a job, and then there's this cascading series of consequences. Losing your car, maybe, your health insurance, your house. So we've seen a huge increase in people who are asking for our services, and the corresponding consequence of the downturn is we've had fewer donations. People aren't giving as much in tough times. So at the same time that our need has skyrocketed, our resources have dwindled.
Ann Kloeckner with Rappahannock Legal Services with us this morning on Community Link on AM 1230 WFVA. And talk a little bit about the history of Rappahannock Legal Services.
We've been around since 1973, so we're just about ready next year to celebrate our 40th anniversary. We started in Fredericksburg, absolutely, but we have expanded. And in the late 70s, early 80s, we set up 2 branch offices. One is in Rappahannock, which serves the Northern Neck and 7 counties around there. We also have a branch office in Culpeper that serves the 5 counties surrounding Culpeper. And then there's 5 counties here that we serve in Fredericksburg. And we do that all on a shoestring with very few attorneys.
I'm going to ask you, so that's 3 offices, a lot of counties, a lot of localities. That's a lot of people.
Right. That's 17 counties. There's more than 50,000 people who are eligible for our services within those counties, and we serve those people with 6 attorneys. There's 1 attorney in our Rappahannock office who covers those 7 counties all by himself, and then there's 2 up in Culpeper and 3 attorneys here in the Fredericksburg office.
How do they do it?
They're hardworking. They come early. They stay late. They are real masters at being 2 or 3 places at once, but we have to turn people away. Across the country, legal aid offices turn away 2 out of every 3 eligible clients due to lack of resources. And another way to illustrate how difficult this is, most people think there's lawyers everywhere. and I tend to agree with them. I think there's a big saturation of lawyers in the community. There's one attorney for every 300 Virginians, and that's a pretty deep saturation level. But look at it from a poor person's point of view. There is one legal aid attorney for every 5,000 poor Virginians. So there's where the justice gap is.
And I would think for a person, for a lawyer to decide, I want to go into legal aid, that's the direction I want to take. It takes a special person to be able to do that because you're giving up a lot.
I have 6 special persons in our office who do that. Yeah, they're extraordinary people. They love what they do. They love helping people. They aren't in it for the money, unlike the stereotype that you would think most people would think of. And I think most attorneys out there, not just legal aid, really do have an instinct to serve and to help people. And especially with legal aid, we have a mission, and that's to make sure that everyone gets a fair shake.
I've never used an attorney to know this, but if I walked into an attorney's office, I know it's usually based, charges start out anyway, or it's based an hourly kind of thing. What would it cost for a normal attorney's office?
Right. Typical hourly rates for attorneys can run anywhere from $100 to $150 at the low end per hour to $3 to $4, and sometimes even in some higher ends, $500 an hour.
And there's the gap you've mentioned several times. Mm-hmm. Ann Kloeckner with Rappahannock Legal Services on Community Link with us this morning on AM 1230 WFVA. What kind of cases do you take?
We take civil cases only. We don't take any criminal cases. And the kind of cases that we typically handle, we handle a lot of domestic violence issues, family law issues like custody, visitation, support issues, and we also handle a lot of housing issues. Perhaps you've heard about the downturn in the housing market that's been a little bit in the news lately.
A little bit.
And so we're seeing a really big increase in problems that people have with their housing. For example, landlord-tenant issues, foreclosure issues where the mortgage company has not dealt fairly with the person who's facing a foreclosure, things like that. We also handle unemployment benefit appeals. If somebody's been denied their unemployment benefits, we will step in and try to help with those hearings. Public benefits like qualifying for food stamps, Medicaid, those kind of things. If you feel like there's been a problem with that, you can ask our office to look into that.
Do you have any way to quantify what kind of an impact you're making on the community?
One of the figures that we love to give people every year is the total number of dollars that we have gotten in court awards for our clients for child support, spousal support, disability payments, unemployment benefits. When we added those all up last year, it was $2.6 million that we got for our clients to lift them up out of poverty and make a real difference in this community. So the small budget that we have is dwarfed by what we're able to put out into the community in court awards.
And you think of those are people that, had they not been able to afford an attorney, likely couldn't have gotten that money.
That's absolutely right.
Do you have any stories that you can share?
Sure. We focus a lot on domestic violence and homelessness because when you have such scarce resources, you have to focus on the greatest and most acute needs. And so a lot of our clients are abused women. An abused woman was actually sued by her former spouse because she got a protective order against him, and he didn't like that. So he went to court and filed a claim against her saying she owed him money for their house payments, the house where he had beaten her up in. And she had to leave because it was so violent. And the judge gave him a judgment against her because she was too afraid and didn't present real well in court. She didn't have a lawyer, and our office came in on the appeal. We filed an appeal to the circuit court and said, you know, this just isn't right. He doesn't really have a right to this amount of money, and we were able to get that judgment reversed because of the inequity, because of the unfairness of expecting her to pay for the house where she'd had to flee because she'd been beaten up in it.
Interesting. How can people get involved?
There are lots of different ways people can get involved. We can certainly encourage people to go to our website, www.rapplegal.com. You can click on the link about how to help and volunteering. There are so many different ways. The first and great way that you can help is to help us with donations. We're always eager to receive money donations. We also can receive in-kind donations. Office supplies. We go through an amazing amount of paper and pens. We're lawyers and we love paper, and so it's really a great thing to get some donations of. We just got a wonderful donation in the last few weeks of file cabinets, for example, that we didn't have before. So those are the kind of things that are real helpful. We also have a tremendous volunteer program. If you are interested in helping us out, there's lots of different ways you can volunteer. You can volunteer to help us on a fundraiser. You can volunteer to come into the office and do paralegal work or office work. We're very thinly staffed. One of our board members put it best. He said that we are too little butter scraped over too much toast. And so the more butter we have, the better. So we are really trying to get lots of volunteers to join us, and there's a nice link on our website to a volunteer form that you can download.
Interesting. It's the stories it's exciting what you're able to do, and I'm sure it's exciting when you see these stories, but also frustrating because, like you mentioned, you're spread, you're the butter that's spread so thin.
We really could do so much more if we had more resources, but I don't know if you remember this old TV show called MacGyver.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it was basically there was this guy who could make like a thermonuclear device out of whiteout and dental floss,
yeah.
Right? And that's the kind of law we practice. We practice MacGyver law, where we take very little and we make amazing things happen because of our resourcefulness. We'd like to do more. There's more need in this community. Our clients are suffering, especially in the downturn. We see lots of cases of injustice and difficult circumstances for people who just simply don't understand the legal system, don't understand their rights. We've put on our website a landlord-tenant guide that lists all of the laws that protect tenants and a list of all the affordable housing in our communities. In all three of our communities, in the Culpeper community, the Rappahannock, and the Fredericksburg community. So we're trying to get as much information online as possible so that people, even if they can't access our services for lack of resources, would be able to at least get some good, solid legal information.
Rapplegal.com is the web address, and a phone number?
The phone number is 540-371-1105. That's our Fredericksburg office, and all the offices' phone numbers and contact information is on our website.
And Kloeckner with Rappahannock Legal Services, 371-1105 or rappahannocklegal.com. And good to meet you. We'll stay in touch and talk again soon.
Thanks for the opportunity.
In partnership with Front Porch Magazine, this is Community Link. I'm Ted Schubel. We will see you next weekend on AM 1230 WFVA.